I still remember her words like they were burned into my chest. "Dating you is embarrassing for my reputation." She said it so casually, without any guilt in her eyes. At that time, I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just walked away, holding my dignity as tightly as I could, even though my heart felt like it was being torn apart. We had been together for almost a year. I thought she loved me for who I was, a simple guy working hard every day to build a stable future. But to her, I was never enough. She wanted the flashy life, the luxury cars, the expensive dinners. She wanted to show off a boyfriend who would make her friends jealous. And clearly, I wasn't that man. I spent weeks trying to heal, forcing myself to focus on my studies and part-time job. Meanwhile, she moved on quickly. Within days, she was posting photos with her new boyfriend. He had a shiny car, wore designer suits, and took her to rooftop bars. She looked so happy, and for a while, I believed she had won. I believed maybe I really was the problem. But then, a few months later, everything flipped. One rainy evening, I was sitting in my room when I heard someone knocking at the door, desperate and crying. When I opened it, I saw her standing there, soaked from the rain, mascara running down her cheeks. My heart stopped when she whispered, "Please, can I come in? He got arrested for fraud. I don't know what to do." In that moment, so many questions filled my mind. Why was she here now? What did she want from me after breaking me so coldly? I stood there frozen, wondering what choice I would make next. I stepped aside and let her in without saying a word. She was shivering from the rain, clutching her small purse like her life depended on it. As she sat on the edge of my old couch, I could see her hands trembling. The silence between us was heavy, filled with all the unspoken words from the day she left me. I handed her a towel, and she wiped her face, avoiding my eyes. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her, but then I remembered how easily she had tossed me away when I didn't fit into her dreams. She finally spoke, her voice shaking. "He got arrested last night. The police took him from his apartment. They said he scammed people, took their money. I didn't know he was like that." Her tears fell harder as she buried her face in her hands. I just stood there, listening, feeling a mix of anger and pity rise in my chest. Part of me wanted to comfort her, to tell her it would be okay. But another part of me couldn't forget how humiliated I felt when she called me embarrassing. She looked up at me with pleading eyes. "I don't have anyone else to go to, my friends don't want to be involved. My parents are furious. I didn't know who else to call." Hearing her say that broke something inside me. So, after all this time, she was only here because she had no one left? Was I just her backup plan now? She kept crying, whispering his name over and over. I watched her, thinking about how quickly life had turned on her. But deep down, I knew this wasn't the end of her story, or mine. It was only the beginning of something much darker that I couldn't yet see. She sat there crying softly, and I tried to control the storm of emotions rising inside me. Memories of our time together flashed in my mind, her laughter when we walked through the park, the way she held my hand at the movies, the little moments when I truly believed she loved me. But now, seeing her like this, broken and lost, felt unreal. Part of me wanted to ask her why she had thrown me away so easily. Another part just wanted her to leave and never come back. I walked to the kitchen and poured her a glass of water. As I handed it to her, she looked up at me with eyes full of guilt and regret. "I know I hurt you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "But I thought I was doing what was best for me. I didn't want to settle for a life that felt small." Her words stung, even though she didn't say them with hate. To her, my life was small. My dreams, my simple ways, my honest work, none of it mattered to her compared to flashy cars and dinner dates in five-star hotels. She took a sip of water and continued. "When I met him, I thought he was everything I wanted. He promised me the world. He said we would travel to Europe, buy a house by the beach, and live like celebrities. I believed him. I was stupid, wasn't I?" I didn't answer. I just stared at her, trying to understand how someone could trade real love for empty dreams so easily. Suddenly, her phone rang loudly, vibrating against the table. She jumped and grabbed it quickly, her face turning pale as she read the message. Her hands began shaking again, and she looked at me with pure fear in her eyes. I wondered what new secret was hidden behind that screen that would change everything once again. She kept staring at her phone, her eyes wide with terror. I could see her lips trembling as she whispered, "Oh no, no, this can't be happening." I felt my chest tighten, unsure if I should ask or just stay silent. Finally, she looked up at me, tears spilling again. "They're saying I might get questioned too. That I helped him spend the money he stole, but I didn't know, I swear. I thought he was just rich, I didn't know it was fraud." My mind raced as I watched her break down in front of me. This girl who once thought she was too good for me was now terrified of losing everything. She dropped her phone on the table and buried her face in her hands, sobbing harder. I felt anger rise within me. She chose him over me, mocked my life, and now she was paying the price. But another part of me felt pity too. No matter how badly she treated me, seeing her like this felt heavy on my heart. She suddenly grabbed my arm tightly. "Please, please, can you come with me to the station tomorrow? Just be there with me. I'm so scared. I don't even have money to hire a lawyer." Her grip was cold and desperate. I didn't know what to say. Why should I help someone who called me embarrassing? But looking at her shaking hands and tear-stained face, I couldn't deny that she was truly terrified. Before I could answer, there was a loud banging on the door. We both froze. My heart started beating faster as the banging continued, echoing through the small apartment. She looked at me with eyes full of panic. "Oh my God! What if it's them? What if they're here for me already?" The fear in her voice made the entire room feel colder. I took a deep breath and walked slowly towards the door, not knowing who or what I was about to face on the other side. The banging on the door grew louder, each knock echoing like thunder in the silent room. I glanced back at her. She was hugging herself tightly, shaking her head with silent pleas. Slowly, I turned the knob and opened the door just a crack. Standing outside was a tall man in a black raincoat, his eyes sharp and serious. For a moment, I thought he was a police officer, but then I noticed the logo on his shirt peeking through. He was from a private security firm. He looked at me, then passed me into the room. "Is she here?" he asked firmly. I felt my throat go dry. Before I could answer, she ran to the door and grabbed his arm desperately. "Please, what happened? Why are you here? I told you I don't know anything." Her words came out rushed and broken with tears. The man's expression remained cold. "Miss, your boyfriend has been charged with multiple fraud cases. The victims are demanding their money back. Since some of the transactions were in your name, you're considered a suspect until proven otherwise." She fell to her knees, crying loudly. I felt the walls of my apartment closing in with tension. Then the man looked at me and asked calmly, "And who are you?" Before I could speak, she grabbed my leg tightly, shouting, "He's my ex. He has nothing to do with this. Please don't involve him." The man's eyes narrowed. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded paper. "There's more. Your boyfriend escaped from police custody this morning. He's on the run. If he contacts you, inform us immediately." My chest tightened. She gasped and covered her mouth, eyes wide with fear. The thought that a man capable of fraud was now a fugitive, and she was somehow tied to him, sent chills down my spine. I realized this was far from over. It was only getting darker. She sat there on the floor, shaking uncontrollably as the security man left after warning us again. The door closed with a heavy thud, leaving an eerie silence between us. I watched her, feeling the weight of everything that had happened. Her boyfriend was on the run, she was now considered a suspect, and her entire life had crumbled in front of her. Slowly she stood up, wiping her tears with trembling fingers. "I don't know what to do," she whispered. "I don't even know where he is. I swear I don't. I didn't say anything. I just walked to the window, staring out at the dark, rainy street, trying to process it all. But suddenly, her phone rang again. The name flashing on the screen made her drop it in shock. "It's him!" she gasped, clutching my arm. My heart pounded as I picked up the phone and put it on speaker. His voice came through, cold and hurried. "Listen to me carefully. Pack your things and meet me at the old bus terminal. We're leaving the city tonight." She broke down, sobbing. "Why did you lie to me? Why did you ruin everything?" But he ignored her cries. "Hurry up. If you don't come, I'll make sure you go down for all of this alone." Her face turned pale as she ended the call. She turned to me, eyes full of desperation. "What do I do? I can't run away with him, but if I don't, he'll blame it all on me." I took a deep breath, feeling my pulse race. For a moment, I thought about letting her go deal with her choices alone. But then, another idea came to my mind. I picked up my phone and said quietly, "Call the police. Tell them where he'll be. This is your only chance to end this nightmare." She stared at me, silent and frozen. But just as she was about to dial, she looked at me with a trembling smile. "Thank you, but I can't." And before I could react, she grabbed her bag and ran out into the night, leaving me standing there in shock, wondering if I would ever see her again. I stood there for a few seconds, staring at the door she had just run out of. The rain was pouring outside, and I could hear her footsteps fading away down the street. Part of me wanted to chase after her, to stop her from making an even bigger mistake. But another part of me knew it wasn't my place anymore. She had made her choices, and this was her path to walk alone. That night I barely slept. I kept thinking about everything that had happened, her words when she left me months ago, her tears on my couch, the fear in her eyes when the security man knocked, and finally, the way she ran away into the storm. In the morning, I turned on the news, and there it was. Her boyfriend had been caught trying to flee the city. The police found him at a small roadside diner, looking exhausted and sick. He didn't resist arrest. But what shocked me was that she wasn't with him. She had disappeared completely. Days turned into weeks, and I never saw her again. Some said she left town to stay with relatives far away. Others said she went abroad to start a new life. I didn't know what was true, but a strange peace settled in my chest. For so long, I thought I wasn't enough for her. I thought I was small, boring, and unworthy. But seeing how her choices ruined her peace made me realize that simple isn't weak. Honesty isn't failure. Stability isn't boring. It's strength that not everyone understands. Sometimes I still think about her. I wonder if she's safe, if she regrets what she did, if she remembers the boy she once called embarrassing. But then I remind myself that her story is no longer mine to worry about. I have my own life to live, one where I don't have to prove my worth to anyone. Her leaving me felt like the end back then, but now I see it was just the beginning of something better. I learned that real love isn't about luxury or status. It's about loyalty, honesty, and quiet strength. And in the end, I'm grateful she walked away. Because by losing her, I found myself again.